Hey kids, Chef Jack here. Jack Kirby month's still going strong, and today I'm going to take a look at DC Comics' most recent tribute to the King, the Sandman Special One-Shot. These days, when most people hear the name The Sandman, they almost always think of this guy, Neil Gaiman's now classic Dream of the Endless. Hardcore fans, on the other hand, will remember this other guy, Wesley Dodds, the Golden Age Sandman who fought crime armed with nothing more than a right hook, a gas mask, and some moxie. But the Sandman special is actually concentrating on the one that came in between those two guys. The one that most people aren't familiar with, Garrett Sanford. He was the star of a very short-lived series that only lasted for 6 issues. They were published back in 1974 and 1975. For those of you who've never heard of this guy, he was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, and he was one of the last characters those two titans of comics ever collaborated on. He was originally supposed to be the Sandman of popular myth, but he was later retconned to have a more superhero feel. The character was never all that popular, and he just sort of faded away after his own series was canceled. He would appear in a couple of issues of Wonder Woman here, and a single issue of Justice League there, before seemingly being shuffled off stage right for good by Neil Gaiman in the 12th issue of the Dream of the Endless series. Needless to say, that means that it's only the really hardcore geeks who are going to know about this character going into this book. And for that reason alone, the Sandman special starts off with a big stack of points in their ledger as far as I'm concerned. It would have been so easy for them to have picked one of the better known characters. But no, they decided to take one of the more obscure characters, one of the more unknown characters, and do a tribute issue that way. And my hat is off to DC for that decision. And I got to say, writer Dan Jurgens and Steve Orlando, they've taken Garrett Sanford off the shelf, they've dusted him off, and they have created a couple of really strange, fun adventures that really would have made Simon and Kirby proud. The first story is entitled The King of Dreams, and it sees the Sandman along with his monster sidekicks Brute and Glob fighting to stop the monsters from out of a child's nightmare from entering reality. They're assisted in this temporarily in this quest by a silent hero who bears a really striking resemblance to a certain Kirby created Asgardian who happens to live at that other comic book company, if you know who I'm talking about. The art for this story is done by John Bogdanova. I think is the way you pronounce his last name. I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. Anyway, he makes an active attempt to mimic Kirby's unmistakable art style, and it's a good try. But I gotta say, as the story goes on, Bogdanova's own style peeks through more and more. But that's not a problem with it. You know, I don't want to. I'm just making note of it. I don't want you to think I'm complaining. I thought it was great that he actually gave the effort. The second story is called Caravan of Crisis, in which the Sandman comes to the aid of an adult Jed Walker. Anyone who's familiar with Neil Gaiman's Sandman series will recognize Jed Walker from The Collectors, which is the infamous story about the serial killer convention. He also showed up in Gaiman's The Dollhouse story arc. In this story, Jed is troubled by a nightmare involving his grandfather, and it's up to our heroes to save the day, and of course they do in grand style. Also included are 2 unrelated stories from Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen that were written and drawn by Jack Kirby. These are a pair of weird little stories that run only 2 pages each, but they're jam-packed with the usual Kirby strangeness, energy, and fun. If I add any complaint at all about the stories in this issue, it's that they take the corniness all the way up to 11. And while I suspect that this was done in an attempt to replicate the fun of the Silver Age, it unfortunately comes off as mocking sometimes, as if the writers were actually making fun of the readers for enjoying it. Nevertheless, this issue turns out to be a really wonderful tribute to not only Jack Kirby, but to one of his more obscure characters. And it's a perfect introduction for that character to readers who've just never ever heard of him. Well done, DC. But what did you think, kids? Have you read the Sandman special? If so, what did you think? If not, do you plan on it now that you've heard what I thought about it? Did you disagree with me? Did you agree with me? Did you not have any opinion whatsoever, but want to comment on it anyway because, hey, why not? You always comment on our videos. Did you want to talk about something else entirely and just, I don't know, decide to comment on this one for some reason? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button. If you really like this video, share it. That way your friends can see it. If you want to see more videos from us, you don't want to miss any videos, and trust me, you don't want to miss any videos, hit that little notification bell or subscribe if you haven't already. If you like what we're doing and you want to help keep the lights on around here, how about you hop on over to our Patreon page and maybe drop $1 in a bucket. There is a link in all that verbiage below. But even if you don't, I just want to say thank you very much for your time and for your attention. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching.